Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Bryce, and I'll be talking about the new Bionicle 2016 series, starting with Kopaka and Melum, which are these guys right here. Now, what I have planned for the channel kind of consists of presenting the original sets. My white balance is really off, and I'm going to be kind of doing a quick critique and review of them, and then afterwards in a follow-up video, I'll actually show how I want to change them, but actually keep the exact same weight for it, because it's one thing to just throw on a bunch of accessories to it and sort of make it arguably more interesting or add more features, but it's much harder to actually add stuff while being on a budget, basically. So I'll be looking at that, but for now, the video you're about to see is just the critique on Kopaka and his little buddy Melum. So while there's probably tons of reviews out now, from certainly BZ Power and these guys here, I wanted to give a review from my side first, just kind of giving a brief coverage like you haven't seen them before. This time Kopaka has no sort of shield to speak of, nothing, you know, small, nothing medium, nothing large. He's got sort of a bladed bit on it, but it's a blaster in his right arm, and his left he has a sword, which is new, so I'm not entirely a fan of that. I'd rather sort of swap them, and also just acquire a shield. I think the blaster's great, really easy to turn with this, otherwise it doesn't make too much sense. I think the holster is great. We have a ton of new elements, both in the sort of ultimate gold and the white and gray. This one actually is by far way more my favorite. So the new thing again in the 2016 sets is that the chest pieces are very, very detailed. As you can see, you get a lot of texture in that. It's nice it's not actually a sticker. There are stickers that come with the shoulder, or the plating. Decided to leave that out just because I'm going to be using it for other stuff. In terms of the rest of the armor, it's an interesting mix. So you have this highly new Technic piece used on the calves, which I don't actually mind. It's a little bit chunky, but it does offer a bit of flexibility. As for the arms though, this arm build, I'm just gonna move the cloud out of the way, is amazing. Like, it's quite intricate to kind of pop together, but at the same time, this ends up being very scrawny, so I'm gonna be having a hard time trying to figure out how to incorporate this still, but give a bit more of a beefy feature to this. But otherwise I'm quite amazed with the build on this one. As you may have seen from the packaging, this is a combined set, so it comes in the pack of 2. However, with just Kopaka, we're going to subtract Melum from the equation. So there's actually a connection piece right here where this guy just pops off, and it's great. He has his little action feature where he pushes his claws together back and forth, but that's kind of all the features for Melum. He's got a very hollow head to sort of have on top of Kopaka's mask, which barely fits. His helmet had to be featuring an eyepiece that's slightly lowered to actually accommodate for the head. But aside from that, I think it's one of the better masks that we've seen with Kopaka, or at least it's far better than the last one which you've seen, which had eyepiece on a different side. It was far above, and it was certainly streamlined, but wasn't my favorite. But anyway, speaking of heads though, I think it's important to know that as you may have heard, the eye stalk is much shorter, the 2015 version, so there's way, way more, even though fortunately the rest of the head is completely identical. I much prefer this just in terms of not knocking things out by accident. This is very new, where we have the swiveling kind of hip, and it works for me, but surprisingly they don't have the teeth going all the way around 360 degrees, so you actually find it stops at a certain point. It feels kind of limiting, which is surprising. But nevertheless, that's the sort of way it comes together. The actual frame of the chest is an interesting sort of piece where you can see in the black, it forms a sort of cross shape, and then continues going straight up into the neck. And for the head, you can see like the rest of this is very much more Technic build than just CCBS from before. Which I like. They're taking a really interesting approach to this. So that is kind of most of Kopaka at the moment. You can kind of see the new pieces. The cross guards I'm also not a fan of. They don't feel icy to me. The swords I'm quite happy with, even though they're not translucent, which is surprising, and they feel a little bit thin. They're kind of a nice weight to them, and certainly a nice length as well. Certainly it's nice to get like the twin blade again from back in the day. So that's my review on Kopaka. Now for Melum, on the other hand, just get him in focus here. So Melum is an interesting creature. I'm not sure whether it's male or female, so I'm just gonna say they have like these interesting little claws, which are the sort of knife designed ones, and as opposed to the underground creature, this one has a sort of hugging or outward digging sort of motion. Playability is fun for it. I have the same problem with the gold and blue as I have with Kopaka, where the melding part, you get like this slightly odd green tinge to it, which I'm not sure if you can see. I'd be much happier if there was little to no gold. I think I actually prefer the Leiwa set, where like way more silver, but at the same time it feels like it complements more than just sort of popping out. Playability of it, it's pretty fun, although the head oftentimes gets in the way. And the actual position of the shoulders is a little bit tricky. Even though I really love these gear and axle pieces, I'm going to use these a lot in sort of future mocks and things like that. I think all the protectors in general have very interesting builds in just the way that they all operate quite differently, so certainly commend them for that. It's going to be tricky to change Melum. I'm not sure if I will too much or not, but I'm certainly going to take these guys off and see if there's like a better solution I can find. Alright, so that pretty much concludes my review of Kopaka. So I would say that even though there's a lot of tweaking to be done, I'm pretty happy with the overall experience between the new part designs. The color scheme actually works fairly well, aside from these blue and gold that I'm not a fan of. Easily just by taking it off would have been a much better look for Kopaka. I mean, I had the same problem with the 2015 version. I would say the sword is great, the blaster is awesome, but I really miss the shield. The arms and the torso build is awesome. I think Melum's body build is great, the action is pretty good, and the claws and the legs I'm actually happy with. If I was to rate the entire set entirely, which is very unfair, I would say probably a 7 out of 10. There's going to be a couple things I'm going to change, starting with the shield. Even though it's an overall set that includes 2 instead of just getting them one by one, I'm happy with the overall buy. I have yet to have a Shadow Trap, so I don't know what I'm missing in that case. Overall, I would recommend this. If you're a fan of Kopaka, there's enough here for you. A couple things to change, but overall, you'll be happy. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.